Hello folks, this is Steve AB for you. Nothing in this episode is a promotion, nor is it a recommendation. Oh, my main tab on this computer is /dot, but now, I like to look at the hacking news, and one of the tabs that I have on my browser that I don't know if I've made any videos from, but I was just looking at this one. I heard about it. Critical unpatched CISCO zero-day bug is under active exploit. When I worked for that internationally known, internationally operating IT company, knew a guy who was a developer, and he left to go work for CISCO. See, the Research Triangle Park, CISCO Systems. So we're talking about North Carolina, not just North Carolina, but they even have a CISCO Systems 7025 Kit Creek Road, RTP 27709. You can see that they have several buildings here and big parking lots. CISCO's been a major name in internet backbone and networking equipment that that connects the networks and the computers and everything together. Not desktop computers, the equipment that you have to have heavyweight behind the scenes in order to handle, like YouTube gets 1 billion visitors every month. Okay. So we're talking about them. No patch or workaround is currently available for the maximum severity 10.0 flaw, which allows attackers to gain complete administrative superuser privilege on affected devices remotely. That means that if that device, if you're using it as part of and there's an internet address on it that you can connect to, specifically a web address, web interface, they could just take over in 10 seconds. And without authentication. Now that's why I said in 10 seconds. So a business has one of these CISCO devices. It's on their network. They use this to do stuff internally, I guess. But you might have an administrator that's on 24-hour call, Sunday morning, 3 a.m. There seems to be a problem inside the network, but he's at home. But he can get in because there's a part of the device that you can reach just with a browser from home, like a website. Got it? And the point about this apparently is you don't have to have a user account or anything. All you need to know is the address. And then there's something you do and bingo, you're 100% in charge of that machine. And if that machine is got high privilege on the network, well then you're in charge of doing anything you want to them. Yes, when I was working, we dealt with one like that. Just like that. Yes. Take over completely in 10 seconds. CISCO is asking customers to immediately disable the HTTPS server feature. So when you go to YouTube, how do you get the web page? There's an HTTPS web server, maybe Apache, maybe some other that they wrote, that takes care of communicating with you over the internet by way of web pages through your browser. Disable the HTTPS server feature. Okay, so I'm the big guy. I get a call at 3:30 a.m. Sunday morning. There's some kind of crisis at work in the company where I work that's using these, and the way I get in is I bring up my browser, I put in the address to that machine inside the company, and I log in. Only the bad guys don't need to log in. The HTTPS server of all of their internet-facing iOS XE devices. All I did was highlight iOS XE. CISCO.com, Cisco iOS XE, software for an evolving network. Cisco iOS XE is an open, flexible operating system. Windows is an operating system. Linux is an operating system. Mac is an Android is an operating system. Software for an evolving network. So they're claiming to be very cutting edge. Cisco iOS XE is an open, and you can get the source code. Open and flexible, you can modify it. Operating system optimized for the future of work. Work from home. As the single OS for enterprise wired and wireless access aggregation core and WAN, wide area network, Cisco iOS XE reduces business and network complexity. So they're offering a simplification. Use this. Now these are the benefits, and why am I on this page? What's the middle benefit? See, they think I'm a customer. What's the middle benefit? Connect, secure, automate. Cisco iOS XE enables model-driven programmability. Just plug in parameters. You don't have to have any geniuses. All they got to do is, it's like the kids programming thing where you just drag and drop a GUI interface. Application hosting, configuration management, automating day-to-day tasks. Why would they do that? Is it all getting too complex for ordinary people, and we're just running out of geniuses, and it's hard to find enough people who can actually dig in? So what you do is you build it in a... Think about how driving a car is simplified. Have you noticed, for example, that no matter which car you get into with an automatic transmission, the sequence of gears is the same? That the only two that you actually need is reverse and forward and neutral? But there are more than that. Simplification for the greater masses. Just picking out something simple. What's the middle one? Secure. Cisco iOS XE helps protect against modern cyber attacks. Really? Its enhanced platform integrity, security, and resilience yield trustworthy data. Now, wait a minute. The article I was reading said that somebody figured out how to get in without a password and take over completely, immediately. Is that called security of the future? See, I'm making fun of them. You'll see why in a minute. Now here's the key thing. When we went here, did we see any warning about the current status of the vulnerability? Support. Products and download, contact support, licenses, tools and resources, security. See all these iOS, EasyVPN, iOS. I don't see anything here about updates on current attacks. Do you see it? I don't. You mean they don't want to let on directly on their main page? The flaw affects all Cisco iOS XE devices. Any Cisco device running that open, flexible, future-looking operating system is vulnerable, irrespective of its function. And we just saw there were 6 or 8 or 10 different ways it can be used, different kinds of devices. Now here's the key point. No patch or other workaround is currently available for the flaw, which Cisco described as a privilege escalation issue that enables complete device takeover. And Cisco itself has assigned a 10 out of 10. The vulnerability allows a remote, unaffected attacker, you, remote, to create an account. See, I don't have a login account, but I can make it look like I belong there. On an affected system with privilege level 15 access. I'm assuming that 15 is maximum super user. Cisco said in an advisory on October 16th. Today is the 16th. We're going back to Cisco. SEC for security, cloudapps.cisco.com/security/center/content/Cisco Security Advisory. It's not on their main page. There was no link on their main page. No warning. So here's their description of it. Let's see how new this is. It is currently 8:35 p.m. right now on the 16th of October. First, this was first published today at 1500 GMT. Add 4 hours to that. 1900, 7 o'clock. Oh, am I talking about something that new? It's less than 2 hours old? No workarounds available. See the recommendations. And what they tell you to do is turn off the HTTP server if it's internet facing. All right? Are you running iOS XE? No. Then forget this. Yes. Is IP HTTP server or IP HTTP secure server configured? No. Then forget about it. Yes. Do you run services that require the communication? Services. In order to use the machine it's running on, do you have to come in through a web contact? No. Then just disable the HTTP server feature. Yes, yes we do. If possible, restrict access to those services to trusted networks, meaning not facing the internet. Only accessible from inside of your organization. They're being clever about it. But they don't have any clue as to how to fix it. Now, why am I saying that? Let's go to Bleeping Computer. Does Bleeping Computer know about it? You notice that I'm back. Cisco warns of new iOS XE 0-day actively exploited in that. Oh, it was published today. It was published at 11:43 a.m. So whatever was on that thing, they were misleading about what the times were. Maximum severity. Lets unauthenticated attackers gain full administrative privileges and take complete control of affected routers and switches remotely. Routers and switches, like I have a switch here that lets each of my computers talk eventually to the router in the other room, which talks to the modem that talks to my ISP. Everybody has that equivalent set of things in order for the two ends to talk to each other wherever they are. And so what they say is, turn off the web user interface. Only affects devices running the web user interface. Feature enabled. Doesn't matter whether it's HTTPS or just HTTP. Now here's the deal. The attacks were discovered on September 28th. Today's the 16th of October. However, by working with a customer, they discovered it when it was as early as the 18th of September. CISCO identified related activity dating back to September 18th following further investigation into attacks. So a customer that was running those devices and software contacted CISCO and said, we need your help. So they started working with them. Thank you. The malicious activity involved an unauthorized user creating a local user account with username Cisco TAC admin with a suspicious IP address. Now, can you see it there? Can you see how they wrote that? Why did they do it that way? I'm educating you. I'm going to turn the font up to 32, and I'm going to do that. See, this is an IVP4 address. There are 4 fields. You see the brackets there? Now watch what I do. Why did they put the brackets there in the article? So you won't accidentally click on it. Because web browsers parse even articles, and if they see something that looks like a web address, they fix it up so that you could click on it and go there. But by putting the brackets, which is a standard thing, they show you the address, but it doesn't work as a web address. So let's just have some fun. I haven't done this before. Remember, I've shown you before that you can use ping, which can't hurt you. All it does is ask if the address is still there. Now, mind you, I took out the brackets. Let me put the brackets in. Now let me hit enter. Ping request could not find host And then I've got the brackets in it, and it's going check. It says check the name and try again. So now I'll do this, and I'll take the brackets out. And now I'll do it. Request timed out. Request timed out. They're trying to find a machine that will answer at that address. Either it doesn't exist or it's somewhere where that you can't access it. Let's say I'm just going to be terrible about this. It's in China. And the commie China, they have a big shield on everything trying to get in and out of China. And they know it's in there and they know it's a bad guy. So their world-facing, internet world-facing routers go, we'll act like we don't know what that is. I'm just using that as an example to explain it to you. Okay? And then I could ask Google, NS lookup. Tell me about that. DNS Google, request timed out. Timeout was 2 seconds. Google doesn't even want to talk about it. Why would that be? Because the good guys get together, and once they know the address that was the bad boy, they put modifications in to make sure that no one can get through, and no one from there can get through. No one from here can get there, and no one, wherever that is, can get here. Do you understand that? But there's one more thing I want to show you. I was reading an article yesterday or the day before. Now, this guy's name I know from a long time ago. No, not Bruce Willis. S-C-H-N-E-I. Yeah, Bruce Schneier, American cryptographer. He's old, like me. See how old he is? He's got a website. I'm a public interest technologist working at the intersection of security, technology, and people. I've been writing about security. He's supposedly 60 years old. Okay, Bruce. So here's his website. Let's go there. Do you think it's safe to go there? I know who Bruce is. I never met him, but I heard about him a long time ago. He's kind of a rebel troublemaker, but sometimes you need that to make the people who have, well, never mind. So the first article currently is coin flips are biased. We're not interested in that. Friday squid blogging on squid, never mind. Hacking the high school grading, never mind. Bounty to recover the elliptical curve seeds. Oh! It turns out that the National Institute of Standards and Technology, who invented a new future-looking encryption system, lost some of how they did it. They lost it somewhere. And they're offering $12,000 to anybody that can help them figure out what the original seed numbers were that they used to build the current beep, beep, beep keys. Oh, wait a minute. We're not interested in that. Oh, here it is. Cisco can't stop using hard-coded passwords. Now, this is unrelated to the thing I've been talking about, but it's still Cisco systems. And what they mean by this is there's a new Cisco vulnerability in its emergency responder product. See, we're back at Cisco. Cisco Emergency Responder Static Credentials Vulnerability. Now, what is that? October 4th. Today's the 16th. So less than 2 weeks ago, they had to announce to the world another big shit thing they did. And it says, just like the other one, no, this is current. No workarounds available. And the base of this is not 10 out of 10, it's 9.8 out of 10. Yeah, a vulnerability in CISCO Emergency Responder identifying the location of emergency callers. CISCO Emergency Responder enhances the existing emergency 911 functionality offered by the Cisco United Communications Manager. It assures that Cisco United Nations Communications Manager will send emergency calls to appropriate public safety answering point for the caller's location, and that can identify the caller's location and return the call if necessary. So this is 911. This is one of their main products. And what's wrong with it? It's something that I've heard about Cisco over the, let's say, the last 5 or 6 years, maybe 5 or 6 times. Not on this product, but on various Cisco products. And what is that? A vulnerability in the system could allow an unauthenticated remote attacker to log in to an affected device, which is all of them, using the root account, which has default static credentials that cannot be changed or deleted. Now, what does that mean? That means in the device you bought to do this function at your 911 set up in your county or city or whatever it is, the remote login password is hard-coded into the firmware of this device, and apparently they can't change the code or update the firmware or anything because there's no workarounds available. And it doesn't say there's any fixes either. Why would anybody do that? Well, in the naive days of 20 years ago, when nobody knew anything about the internet, not the web, the internet, IP protocol, while we're selling these devices to people and they have no idea what to do, and if they have trouble, and I'm in New Mexico, I'm in RTP working for Cisco, and they're in London, I'll use the internet, not the web, the internet, and I'll log into the machine that's in London, and I'll snoop around and I'll run some basic stuff and I'll help them figure out what they need to do. It's a back door, and it looks like they keep on putting back doors in there. And the hackers buy these things and figure it out. The hackers buy these devices and figure out where the hard-coded password is. And then they have access to all 1 million of them in the world. Cisco, we offer you security. Excuse me. If you were to look, wait a minute, I haven't done this. Cisco hard-coded password. Oh, there's the Bruce Snyder. November 4th, 2021, Cisco fixed flaws that could have allowed unauthenticated attackers to access its devices with hard-coded credentials. 2021, a year ago. Hacker News, March 8th, 2018. 5 years ago. 5.5 years ago. A medium yet critical vulnerability has been discovered in Cisco Prime collaboration provisioning software that will allow, but you see the title on that was hard-coded password. And there are others going back. So now do you understand about him putting the title, Cisco Can't Stop Using Hard-Coded Passwords? You see why I enjoy this stuff? Nothing changes. As much as things change, nothing changes. Steve A. before you, just giving Cisco a hard time. Like I said, where I was working, there was a guy that kind of did this sort of stuff that we're talking about. But he decided he wanted to get out of there and go to Cisco because that was the new frontier. For all I know, he's the one that's hard coding those passwords in. Who knows? Steve A. before you. Saying see you in 73.